Welcome to the Fray Flak Pack. It's Termex here, and welcome back to another Borderlands 3 build video. Yes, this time we're actually doing a build video, and today we're doing a build based around the Wedding Invitation, which is a brand new sniper that was added to Borderlands 3 as the February 14th Valentine's Day update, or the community love letter. I forgot the exact name of it, but it's from the Valentine's event, and this sniper is a game changer. It's honestly a game changer. To get this sniper, all you're gonna have to do is a community event to where you have to shoot 100 of the new hearts that are located around every area within the game. The best way I found of doing this is going through Athena's multiple times. You average about 30 to 40 hearts per run, so 1 to 2 runs on average will get you the amount of hearts you need to complete the event. Now, you may get lucky and get a anointed version of this weapon, but I had a non-anointed version with a improved critical hit rate. I don't know, you guys might have a better version, you guys might have a worse version, but it's always going to be a Jacob sniper in fire element. But since this is a build and I'm showing you guys this without any anointments, it's going to be an accurate representation of how the build will work. Anyway, let's move over into the skill tree. We're going to be starting off into the Hunter skill tree. 4 out of 5 into Planetary Stalker, 3 out of 3 into Leave No Trace. We are doing a different type of fadeaway build, and Leave No Trace is going to be very beneficial for us. 5 out of 5 in a Hunter's Eye, because along with my class mod, that is 8 out of 5, and that is a very, very big bonus to our effects against critical hit damage with humans, and the damage reduction we get against beasts. It's just very helpful, especially for those tanky robots when you're trying to do Slaughter Shaft or the Maliwan takedown. 1 out of 3 into head count. As I was told in some previous videos, 3 out of 3 is not needed with head count, and especially with this sniper, you're not going to need it because we're going to be switching to a Brainstormer to get our action skill back quicker. 5 out of 5 into Two Fangs, so we get our extra projectile chance with the sniper. I always like to think that if a sniper does a bunch of damage, it doesn't hurt to add an extra projectile. Plus, we wouldn't really benefit from having Ambush, Predator, nor Second Intention because we're not going to be reloading too often. So it's somewhere to actually put our points. 3 out of 3 into the most dangerous game. It is boosted by 1 due to my class mod, but this is just an overall great perk. You're going to be getting money, gun damage, critical hit damage, handling. It's just an overall great perk to have. 3 out of 3 in the big game, so all of our duration for our hunter skills are doubled, and all the effects are increased by 30%. 1 out of 1 into Galactic Shadow. Doing this grants us an extra 15% critical hit damage across the board with no matter what we're doing. And finally, 1 out of 1 into Megavore. This is an amazing perk as well, just so we can trigger our action skill cooldown with head count when using the Brainstormer, because if we didn't have this perk, the Brainstormer would be useless for getting our cooldown back. Over into the Master skill tree, we only want 3 points into Persistence Hunter because we're going to be using the longer version of Fadeaway. I'll get to that once we get over to the gear part, but this gives us our 12% gun damage and our 45% action skill duration. And finally, the Stalker tree, 5 out of 5 in Nefarious Attack, so we get the gun damage. 5 out of 5 in the Overclocked, so we get the extra fire rate. It does shoot decently fast, but this just makes it shoot even faster. 1 out of 5 in the Self-Repairing, just so we could advance along with these perks here, but before then we have to put 3 out of 3 in a Turntail and Run for gun damage and fire rates, and for the tankiness of moving around with the health regeneration and the damage reduction. And 1 point to Lick the Wounds, because like I said, I'm gonna make this a meme on my channel. Get the damn perk. And then finally, 3 out of 3 into the Fast and the Furious for gun damage, pet damage, movement speed. Mainly the gun damage and movement speed is what you're looking for with this perk, but the pet damage is nice, especially since we're using a jabber. And then 4 out of 5 in the Hidden Machine, so when we are in fadeaway and they are focused on my jabber, or if my jabber is dead and they can't see me, it's going to be a bonus 24% damage. As for the perks and skills we're going to be using Fadeaway with Gorillas in the Mist, along with Unblinking Eye, kind of like the classic setup. As for the pet, I always like to say it's personal preference, but I personally prefer the Gunslinger Jabber for the extra movement speed and the critical hit damage. Over to my Guardian rank. Guardian rank is disabled. We finally have Guardian rank button. All my future builds are going to be disabled Guardian rank. So if you guys feel like subscribing to the channel for more flak builds, I will be doing flak builds for the general audience. Unless it comes to the point where people ask for Guardian rank flak builds, which I doubt will happen. But this is how all my flak builds are going to be from here on out. So you get a true representation of how the build works. Alright, on to the gear. Here is my invitation. Pretty self-explanatory. I already showed you guys it before. and you guys saw a little bit of it during the beginning of the video. It's a good sniper. You acquire it after the 100 hearts, and the overall effect of it is when you shoot an enemy in the crit spot, it will deal a fire blast in their face, and it will chain 100% of the damage to another enemy and then do a fire blast in their face. And it is actually a very cool effect, and I think this has competition with the Lyuda. Even people in my Discord are saying the same thing. They're hitting for 1-2 million damage. The gun might get nerfed. I hope it doesn't get nerfed. I don't think it's too broken, considering there's already the ion cannon in the game, which is way more broken than this thing. But this gun is pretty close. Other than that, you're going to want a Brainstormer, any Brainstormer. This just happens to be my Brainstormer with these good anointments and with the extra pellets, times 14 instead of times 7. Get yourself a Brainstormer for the action skill cooldown rate, but you don't need it if you don't care about your action skill and you could stay alive. But we want to be in fadeaway as much as possible to improve our survivability, both in the Maliwan takedown. Yes, it could technically do the takedown, but you might want to have a corrosive weapon to do Wotan and the Valkyries. But it actually excels when it comes to slaughter shafts and all that, because most of the enemies are weak to fire, and with our setup we're going to be doing bonus damage to get through the armor and the shields quicker. Over to the class mod, we have the Bounty Hunter class mod. Now, the Bounty Hunter has kind of been slept on recently, and I don't know why, because it's an amazing class mod for flak. And this also counts for most dangerous games, so you don't have to be killing a badass, which I think is kind of cool. It's not broken, but it's cool. But the big thing is, bosses are now treated as humans, beasts, and robots for flak's hunt skills, i.e. Hunter's Eye. But over into the perks, I have weapon handling, which is nice, but I get 31% bonus sniper damage and 45% bonus Jacob's critical hit damage, which is an insane amount of damage. And I saw some comments in some of my other builds saying YouTubers get lucky with their drops, YouTubers buy all their gear. I want to let you guys know up in front, I have either farmed my gear, legitly traded for my gear, or I have had gear given to me by good friends. I have never bought gear. I never intend on buying gear in Borderlands. I don't really support selling your gear, but I just want to get that out of the way. Moving on to the Relic, I picked the Snowdrift Auto Idol, mainly because I'm addicted to Snowdrift relics because I feel slow without them. But the bonus is when I kill an enemy, I get a little bit of health for survivability, but the magazine size and the action skill cooldown rate are very useful. The pistol damage isn't the big benefit of the Relic, it's mainly the slide speed and the magazine size, so try to aim for something around that area. As for your grenade, always personal preference, but this time it's a little different. If you want to be melting through armor or shields, you want to get on action skill end grenades with either shock, radiation, or corrosive. That's completely up to you on which one you want. Cryo even works too. Now, I don't have fully level 53 gear. The jump is a little bit noticeable, but as for the anointments, there's no jump within the bonus of them. Just because not all my gear is level 53 doesn't mean it's limiting my damage fully. All the important parts of the gear are on level, and that's what is important with the build. And finally, we have the Reflecting Recto. Now, I had a choice between this and the Rerouter, and you guys can make this choice for yourself as well. I chose the Recto because you're having more survivability, you're getting more bullets reflected into your shield so you don't have to reload as much, and it'll be a lot easier doing slaughter shafts, 10 times easier. But the Rerouter, you're going to be getting more amp damage on your shots occasionally, and it has a little bit higher of a capacity, higher recharge rate, and a less of a delay. But me personally, I prefer the Recto just because for slaughter shaft, but if you're doing general mobbing, I would say put on the Rerouter. But if you're doing anything other than general mobbing through maps, try to get the Recto. Even the backham works as a backup plan if you want to be into that, because that is kind of like a mini version of the Recto. But for the testing, we're going to be using a Recto just in case you guys don't have a Rerouter, and so you can see the raw damage potential of it. My Recto has bonus cryo damage after my action skill is complete, and along with my grenade, I'm going to be getting bonus 50% radiation and bonus 50% cryo. Now that I showed you guys enough of the build, enough of the blabby, now it's time to go kill some enemies. And this is the fun part. This is where I get to show you guys the main usefulness of the gun itself. Sorry, my recording cut out for a minute. I don't know why it did that. But anyway, I want to show you guys how this works. Now, when you see when I hit him, that critical hit damage, it did the little mini explosion. And the fire damage over time is actually surprisingly good. As you see, it just finished him off after 1 bullet. But having a Hunter Seeker grenade helps with the recharge of your action skill if you don't want to switch to your Brainstormer. But once we pop into fadeaway and spam our critical hits onto an enemy, All those bullets ricocheted and killed that badass, and it killed the Goliath with ease. This build is fun. I like to think of it as like the sniper version of the Rowan's Call, because that's kind of how it functions in a way. Now these guys resist fire, so I'm not going to be able to melt them as quickly, but they still die even though they resist fire, which is kind of crazy. But I will tell you guys up front, unless you have after action skill cryo damage anointments, it's going to be a little bit tough eating through those heavy armored enemies with the green health bars. Just because you're doing fire damage against armor, it's not going to work out the way you want it to, obviously. But I guarantee you, here's a good example of the ricochet, a bunch of jabbers. You're basically attacking multiple at once here. That pellet kind of flew and hit the house. I don't know why. But yeah, as you see, after action skill end, we're getting our bonus cryo damage and our bonus radiation damage. And we're still getting that reflection upon critical hits, which is very nice. And as you see, we haven't reloaded a lot. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember if I just reloaded or not. But we haven't reloaded too much at all. Another thing I forgot to mention about this build, if you guys don't, like, you're not too keen on hitting crit spots too much, don't worry. That's why I did not do a 3-shot fadeaway build. Will you get more damage with a 3-shot fadeaway build? Of course you will, obviously. But not everybody has a precision, like the Unforgiven build, or not everybody has the time to freaking aim for the head all the time. So this is a more general audience kind of thing that you guys can pull off. You don't have to hit the exact headshot on the enemies for the sniper to work. And as you can see right there, I didn't mean to do that, but if you hit a critical hit and you're too close to an enemy, that's gonna indirectly do damage to the player, just so you guys know. That will do damage to you. So don't barrel stuff with the sniper, because it will do damage back to the player. But if you're like a decent amount away, you'll be fine. It won't do too much damage to you. But other than that, there's not really any other tips I can give you guys on the build. Overall, I really enjoy it. It's very fun to play with, and I think Gearbox is doing a great job with their game. I'm starting to see the incline of events, guns, areas just becoming a lot more enjoyable and fun. And I'm really excited to see what the future of Gearbox has and what the DLC will bring us when E3 comes around. I'm very excited for that as well. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the build, please make sure you leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you want to see new flak builds or any other Borderlands content. And if you want to support me even more, I have a Flak Pack Discord. Link is in the description below. I hope you guys have a terrific day, and I'll see you guys later.